Well, ladies and gentlemen, another week, another show with my boy Aaron, 49ers First Takes. How are we doing, my man? How are you feeling? We had a preseason game this weekend, and the 49ers won. So this is the first time we've talked after a winning game. How you feeling?
Yeah, I was. It's funny. I watched what I wanted to watch, and I was like, I'm just going to watch Brock Purdy in the starting offense and the starting defense, and then or whatever version of the starting defense we had out there. And then I was like, no, I got to do it all because you can't be a content creator if you're only selecting certain things you want to watch. So I ended up watching the whole game. I came away with different opinions on certain players, and I came away with the thought, and I'll just leave it because I'm sure we'll hit it as the show goes on. But the 49ers have themselves another offensive weapon in the building who
Yeah.
just happens to wear the number of a formerly beloved quarterback in 49er lore. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that was my takeaway.
I'm sure we'll get to that guy. He's a pretty popular guy right now in the
Mm-hmm.
49er land. So we'll talk about him. Yeah, you have to watch the games, Aaron. You have to watch every game. I was at the game, so of course I had to
That's awesome.
stay to the end. Now, the other reason you watch the games, because if you're going to critique and give your assessment and talk about the games, like you said, as a content creator, you can't sit there and you can't sit there and analyze the game if you haven't watched. Because I saw ESPN do it this week. I saw
Mm-hmm.
Colin Cowherd. I say all these idiots sitting there have an opinion on Trey Lance, whether you like Trey Lance or not, whether you think he's good or not. Like, I just can't sit here and take the media out here talking about him and saying he had a bad performance if they didn't actually watch the game. So you absolutely need to watch the games. If you're going to be any type of person in the media, content, YouTube, whatever the case is, podcast, whatever your form of media is, if you're going to talk about this team or any team in sports, you have to watch the game. So I'm glad you finished the game and you
Yeah.
watched it. But one thing you said is you saw whatever version of the defense that is out there right now. So it's still not a full defense. And there's a reason why. There's a man named Nicholas John Bosa, the defensive player of the year, reigning defensive player of the year. He still hasn't had a contract extension. He's nowhere to be found for the 49ers. They're waiting. They got 3 weeks left. Kyle Shanahan said today, yeah, it's going as expected. The other day, or last week, John Lynch says, yeah, whatever. We're not worried about it. But they're kind of nonchalant. Like, don't worry about it. Are you worried Nick Bosa isn't signed yet or extended yet?
A little bit. I think it's a little bit to be. I mean, he missed all the training camp essentially because training camp's pretty much done, right?
Yeah.
I think today was the last practice or one of the last practices.
Tomorrow's the last.
Tomorrow. Okay. So he's missed all training camp, which that's okay because, like I said, he's like Ferrari. You like to keep him in the garage until the weather's nice, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I worry because a lot of these holdouts always end in guys getting hurt the minute they step on the field because we talked about this last night on Niners Coast to Coast, that contact callus that you build up during training camp, where you go from, the OTAs where nobody's touching you, and then all of a sudden, day 4 or day 5 of camp, you're thudding up and you're hitting people. He hasn't experienced that. Do I think he has been out of shape and sitting eating pizza and Doritos? No, he's Nick Bosa. I mean, he's got like 2% body fat. It's just a little bit of a worry because, we haven't seen this full defense even in practice or on display in the preseason game. You just like to see if people mesh. We don't know if Nick Bosa and Johan Hargrave are going to mesh because they haven't been with each other. We don't know how Clelin Ferrell's going to play off of Nick Bosa on the other side, and maybe that helps him become what the Raiders thought he was going to be all those years ago. So, yeah, I'm not really worried per se. I know the contract's going to get done. He's not going anywhere. It is a little bit weird that, we're almost in September and like he hasn't set foot in that facility in months. So the good news is, at least from everything that I saw on Twitter from you, Breezy, all my guys, he's in New York City. So his agent's office is in New York City. So, I mean, it seems like a good sign. I thought he was going to sign today. It didn't happen, but who knows? Maybe it's, bright and early, tomorrow or whatever. But not worried yet as far as he's going to miss games. I'm more worried about how this affects his body going into the season. The fact that he hasn't really had any contact in, months. So,
yeah, it's a good point. I mean, you talk about the contact callus. I feel like Nick Bosa, and like you said, He's not going to be sitting there eating chips and beer and whatever lazy. Nick Bosa is the most disciplined player in the NFL, maybe next to CMC. It's kind of crazy. 49ers have two of the most disciplined players in terms of building their body, eating right. Like Nick Bosa and CMC, they're probably both together, probably a total of 4% body fat together, those two. It's insane. So I'm not worried about Nick Bosa being in shape, not worried about him being ready. He never plays in the preseason. Kyle
Oh,
said it. So I know they don't care about all that. But you kind of, there's one thing that Randy said, Randy Daytona in the comments. He says, Nick is killing our defensive preparedness. I do want to see him out there at least getting that chemistry down with a guy like Javon Hargrave, because we know how he plays with Fred Warner and all that stuff. They're not going to miss a beat. But Hargrave and on this D line and Clellan Ferrell and then those guys, there are some new players there. You kind of want to feel, you kind of want to make sure that Nick can sense where these other guys are going to be on the line. Now, he's so good, and I'm sure they'll figure it out together. But you want that timing to be right. You want to come out the gates strong. I don't want this team to lose, a few games out the season and limp into the season. Like, oh no, licking their wounds, and here comes the resurgent Niners. Like, it's fun when they come back, and it's great. Like last season was a great story. They won a bunch of games in a row. It's fucking stressful. Bottom
it is
line,
stressful.
you want this team to come out hot, win games, and have a cushion at the end. You want them to be number one seed. So Kevin asks, any news from the media about Nick Bosa being in New York? So, right, we talked about New York. Nick Bosa's in New York. If you're a super sleuth like me and some of the Twitter detectives, they've kind of, somebody had his address, Nick Bosa's agent's like literal office address in New York. It's crazy. So if you put two and two together, the math adds up. Nick Bosa's agent is in New York. Nick Bosa's in New York. You kind of think maybe he's in New York with his agent. So we'll see. I mean, why else would he be in the concrete jungle? You got 3 weeks until the season. Is taking vacation right now. I mean, you should be prepared for the season. So I don't think he's there on vacation. I don't think he's there this close to the season to be on vacation. I could be wrong. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully he gets knocked out in the next couple of days. Kyle doesn't seem to be too concerned. He says, yeah, this is how we drew it up, this offseason. It's like, you guys really waited this long? I don't know. The 49ers do like to take their time. And as far as the fines and missing practice and this and that, they'll rescind those fines. He's not going to be where they're not going to worry about. He's not going to probably worry about the money. And he did say the last time Nick Bosa was in the building and he had a press conference, he said, I'm going to let my agent do all my work for me. So I don't even think Nick Bosa is saying anything, and it's just the agent. And if you know an agent, they're going to press to get the most money out of someone, because the more money for their client, the more money in their pocket. So to me, this is agent driven. I've heard through the grapevine that there is an offer on the table. I don't know what that offer is. We just got to wait and see at this point.
Do you think he becomes the highest paid NFL defender in the league?
Absolutely.
More than Aaron Donald? My
Absolutely.
guy on Mondays, David McNiner, thinks that it's going to be somewhere closer to 40 million than it
I don't
is
know
to
about 40.
35.
It might. He's gonna change. This is my prediction: is he's gonna change the market. He's gonna change the landscape. Nick Bosa is setting a new high. He's going to break the bank. He's about to need a very large safe. If you ever watch DuckTales, do you remember the show DuckTales? Remember
Yes.
Scrooge Duck? He had that massive
The
safe
money silo
and the
that he
money,
would
and
dive into.
he was diving in with all the coins. That's gonna be Nick Bosa. He's gonna be diving in, spitting coins out of his mouth. That's gonna be Nick Bosa after this contract. He's gonna be Scrooge McDuck.
That's awesome. I used to love that cartoon back in the day. What was I going to say about like who would go to New York City anyways if you like where would you rather be, Miami or New York City? I
I'm
mean, I
saying
know some some parts of Miami are kind of trashy, but like New York City, man, like I'm a New Yorker. I don't live in New York City. I'm about 7 hours away, but there's no way I'd want to be in a concrete jungle in the middle of the city. I'd rather be, if anything, I'd rather live in the Midwest and just live in some field somewhere where nobody can find me. That I live like in a gate with gates around my house. But yeah, I would assume, and like you said, you're doing your sleuth work, that he has to be there to sign the contract.
why else would you be in August? It's still like you said, Miami. He's from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Why would you leave the beautiful Fort Lauderdale, city of beaches and pretty women and palm trees and Bahamas and boats and yachts, to go to?
Yeah,
My man Randy says New York City in August, no vacation, more like a sewer fan blowing hot ball smet at you. sweat at you constantly. There's no reason to
Yeah.
go to New York
Yeah.
unless you got some business to do.
Yeah.
No disrespect to New York. I want to go to New York. I always wanted to go there. I've never went to the East Coast, but I'd rather be in Florida right now during this time of the year. And then I think Beast Mode says Bosa's contract is going to make Levi Stadium food prices go up. Listen, those food prices are already outrageous. I paid for nachos and 2 waters. It's $28. So those food prices, they better not go up. But he's probably right.
Nachos and 2 waters.
Yeah, $28.
Dude, I'm gonna freaking. I'd eat before a game and then just get a water when I get there.
Well,
That's it.
I went to the tailgates and I know a lot of people, so they fed me. But you're still hungry. I'm still hungry after 2 hours of baking in the sun and yelling. Still want to eat some food, so but that's all I spent. So I can't complain. So I got free tickets. I didn't pay for parking because I live close enough. So really, if you think about it, I went to a preseason game, watched the 49ers for $28. So when you think about it that way, it's cheap, but it's still $20 for nachos and 2 waters. So
dumb, but whatever. They got to make their money back somehow.
Russell says they about to rename the stadium Bosa Stadium. They might.
They're gonna have statues of him everywhere. He's gonna be in all the seat covers. Yep.
They gotta get
There'll be games where you can play darts with his abs to see where you can. That'd be really weird, but totally not out of the realm of possibilities. Be something when the girl fans makes up like it's a new dice or it's a new darts game, and it's just like his abs.
Oh my god!
That'd
or
be
like
weird.
Just a kissing booth with Nick. I mean, they got to market. They got to get all the money they can out of this. They're gonna squeeze the money they can. It's gonna be crazy. They would take a picture with him. Oh man.
Have him sit in a dunk tank and have people try to drop him in the water. You know, whatever gets the money in the stadium.
Yeah, whatever they got to do. But yeah, the prices are crazy for tickets and everything. But you know, it's fun to go to them, but it's definitely not cheap. So I know everybody can't go, but yeah, those prices of food, they probably will raise. So ultimately, again, I don't think that there's going to be an issue. I think they're going to sign him, but I do agree with you. Long story short, with everything we talked about, I do agree with you that I hope that he can be prepared with this team and get that chemistry. Yeah. And I do hope that he can stay healthy this year. I mean, I feel like he will be because he's never really played preseason before, but that is a genuine concern. I agree with that concern. Yeah.
Somebody made a good point. The reason he got hurt in 2020 was the horrible stadium where the Jets and Giants play, and everybody got hurt on that turf. So in a way, maybe he's going to be really healthy in his career. I mean, he had the issue coming in with the calf or the whatever when he came in his first training camp. He missed all of training camp and then made the regular season like nothing happened.
Yeah, I mean, but when he came out of college, he had the hernia repair and he had the hamstring, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's injury prone and he's not gonna pan out." But he's been fine since he came in. And yeah, the ACL has a shitty Met life.
I should go there to tear my knee up completely so I can get it fixed for real this time. Just stick run on it, pop, and there we go.
You're like the Javon Kinlaw of content creators.
Yeah. Yeah, but here's the thing, people. I'm not in my 20s. I'll be 44 in December. So me having knee issues that are nagging, that's okay. When you're in your 20s and you look like him, like I'm essentially a slob, right? I'm 290 pounds, 6'3". He's like, a god body. So, I mean, for me, it makes sense, right? So, yeah, I'm definitely the Javon Kinlaw. Only in body, not in personality, though. I think I'm a pretty nice guy.
I think you're a nice guy too. No, I mean, oh man, is that a compliment or not? Calling you the Javon Kinlaw of content creators?
I could take it the wrong way and be really mad at you, but I know you don't mean it the wrong way. So no, it's not. It's fine.
You got bad knees, man. What can I? That's it. You're the Javon Kinlaw. And he had to go and get a reconstructive surgery, although he didn't tear his ACL. Like that's how bad his knees were. So, what's up, Charlie? Yeah, the 40s hit different, says Charlene.
Yeah, they do. Yes, they do. All my problems started in my 40s. Shoulder surgeries. I've had 2 shoulder surgeries, and I've had a knee. I had to fix a meniscus that I tore, and now my knee hurts all the time from my quad. I try to do some stretches, and it hurts so bad. So
yeah, it's not good.
Eventually, I got to go to once things get straighten out in real life, I'll go to the doctor, the orthopedic doctor, and we'll get some stuff to him. But right now, I'm just gonna have to tough it up for a bit.
I don't. I'm dreading my 40s. I got one more year and be 40 in
Yeah, but
April.
you're not a really big like like gangly like guy who's like carrying around all this extra weight.
Yeah,
Because like in my early 20s, I could get from a squatted position to my feet. I used to work in like a warehouse area, like at a grocery store. I had to like put away like ingredients like flour and stuff, and I had to climb the racks. You're not supposed to climb the racks, but I was essentially like a Springer monkey, right?
wow.
If I do that now, I'm going to tear every single quad,
I was
hamstring, everything
if
in my
you're
body's just
climb,
going to pop.
if you're climbing like that, you're everything's falling with you. It's gonna fall on you. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad.
What injury does he have? He tore everything.
He broke his body. His body is he
Right.
broke. Yeah, let's not. So yeah, I mean, I know I'm a scrawny little dude, but I got a heart condition. So the heart gets a little older. You
Yeah.
start. I'm a little worried about it. I'm a little worried
Well,
about
it's
it.
a good
But
thing you're thin, you know. If you were,
yeah,
well, carrying around a bunch of unnecessary fat weight at your size with the heart
that's
condition, yeah, that could be pretty scary.
that's true. And I mean, I got a very physical, active job, so it keeps
Mm-hmm.
me. It could kind of keeps me going. It keeps me active. Yeah, Randy says a full body strain. That's what you'd have.
That's pretty much what I'm dealing with right now. I'll tell you, if you gain weight in your midsection and you're a tall guy,
Mm,
it tightens your whole body up. You're not like the elasticity of your body. It just everything is like centered. Like
yeah.
that's if I just lost all that weight, I'd be able to like kind of move again. So yeah. But anyway, there's Niner news to talk about.
So yeah. Anyways,
Oh,
segue back to this is a segue back to Niners. So Nick Bosa doesn't have to worry about that because he's disciplined. His body's in shape. But there's another guy. You kind of brought him up earlier. I want to get to this guy before we get to the quarterback talk because everybody talks about quarterback, and we're gonna eventually get to that. So there's a guy you mentioned. Um, his name is Ronnie Bell. Steve-O says Ronnie Bell to the moon. Like this guy has been the star of preseason. Every year there's a preseason warrior, so I like to call him. And this year it's Ronnie Bell. There's always one guy that steps up and it's like, oh my God, he has to make the 53. It's a lot of hype around him. Sometimes the hype is good, sometimes it's not because then it puts a lot of pressure. And then once he starts doing bad, it's like, oh, he was just overhyped. There's been several players that Kyle Shanahan has tried to get to be in that slot receiver spot. And a couple years back, Jalen Hurd, everybody lost their mind with the hype of him, and he got hurt, right? Dante Pettis kind of looked pretty slippery, kind of like a guy that might be the guy, slot guy, second round pick, and then he just got hurt. He just wasn't physical enough. Trent Taylor, another guy, he had nice little potential, got hurt, couldn't pan out with Shanahan. They got this guy, Ronnie Bell, okay? Seventh round pick. He's probably going to take over Juwan Jennings next year when he eventually leaves because he's going to he's in a contract year. I don't imagine them bringing back Brandon Ayuk and Juwan Jennings for bigger money. You probably got to prioritize Brandon Ayuk. Ronnie Bell is going to be a lot cheaper. This guy is going to move up the rankings pretty quick on this team. But he's physical. He runs great routes. He can block. He's being mentored by Debo. Like that's all you need. Co-signed him after the game. He said, "Ronnie Bell, like this guy is he going to be the guy that we all wish that Dante Pettis could have been, or is he going to be a bust? Is he going to be a flameout? Is he just a preseason warrior? What do you think about Ronnie fucking Bell to the moon?
tweeted on Saturday after watching him play. I said, Ronnie Bell is what Kyle Shanahan wanted Dante Pettis to be.
Mm,
He can run routes. He's fearless. He's physical. And from the looks of it, he can return kicks. That's
mm-hmm,
essentially what they bring in Dante Pettis to do. Dante Pettis was a return god in college, came into the
mm-hmm,
NFL, and all of a sudden he was afraid to get hit, right? Same thing with him at wide receiver. Like he had this wiggle. Everybody talked about this like herky jerky way he runs his routes and gets open. No, we saw none of that in two preseason games. I've seen more from Ronnie Bell in two preseason games than I saw all of Dante Pettis' career with the 49ers. Ronnie Bell to me is like a miniature version of Debo Samuel. I don't want him to be so physical all the time and look for contact like he does. It just lends itself because he's not a big guy. But man, imagine that as your third option. I mean, dude, I don't think he's a preseason warrior. I think he's legit
I think
because he
so.
did it. He did it with starters and backups. And he did it the whole game.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
to me, it's just a thing of like work on the hands, no more deflections, Figure that all out. Part of it, I think, is the quarterback putting the ball on his face mask a little bit too
Yeah,
much.
yeah. I hit him in the face. Yeah,
Yeah, like get that down a little bit, Mr. Darnold. But I think he looks great. I think he's what they wanted Dante Pettis to be.
absolutely.
And the fact that he's a 7th-round pick, he costs you nothing.
Nothing. He's
He's
cheap.
free money.
He's literally going to be free for the next 3 years.
So if the not dude, I was talking about this last night. I said, man, if the Niners could just like, do they have different guys that handle the beginning and the back of the draft? Can we switch those rooms for like a year?
for a,
Because
you make the
the
first round.
Niners can't
Yeah,
do the stuff that is expected right for the most part. They screw all that up all the time. It's the part of the draft that nobody cares about. A lot of us are like eating potato chips, just kind of watching the thing go at the bottom of the screen. We're not really paying that much attention. And these guys always end up being the ones that make the difference on the team.
yeah.
I mean,
Look at
it's
the round.
ridiculous.
George Kittle. You got Dre Greenlaw. Obviously, Juwan Jennings is a 7th round pick, and
Elijah
Deontay
Mitchell to
Moore
some extent.
to extend when he's healthy. You got Diamond Lenore. Hufanga was a 5th round pick. And now you got D Winters, who looks like he's coming up, and Jalen Graham and Ronnie Bell. These guys are late round picks. Like, they're so good. Like, I don't even think they care about having these early picks. That's why they probably didn't care. They gave up all that draft capital for, Trey Lance and everything. So they do so good at the back end of the draft. It's unbelievable. It blows my mind. But yeah, Ronnie Bell, I don't think he's a preseason warrior. I think he's actually the real thing. A lot of people in the comments are saying he's like a yak bro. He's a mini Debo. I think he's definitely a yak brother in training. I agree. I don't want to see him be too physical because that does hurt you. But I mean, in Kyle's offense, you have to be able to deliver punishment. Got to be a bully. Alex says Ronnie was
Got to
in
block.
he was in the run first system in college. He was, with Harbaugh, they ran first, but he was that slot receiver and he was very physical. He was a leader there. He was like one of the captains in Michigan. He had an ACL tear one year. He came back. Guy was really good in college, and he has the seasoning. Again, he's played around a lot of higher competition, and I think that bodes well for him going into the league. He's going to be able to take some of these top ends cornerbacks eventually once he gets more playing time. But I love the guy. I definitely agree. He's what Dante Pettis, what everybody thought he was going to be. Because he does run really good routes. He's physical. The stiff arm, you saw that stiff arm play? That was, oh man, when he dropped that stiff arm on the guy, I like jumped out of my. I was like, oh,
He's really strong for his size.
yeah.
Like, that dude can't be more than 180 pounds soaking wet, right? 180, 190 pounds. And dudes are bouncing off of him like he's Debo. I'm like, damn.
It's like he's like my build with your strength, Aaron. That's how it is.
Something like that.
Something like that. It's crazy. He's got some strength, man. Dudes were bouncing like a basketball off of him. That was
It's like magnets coming together. They just like push off. Yeah. Dude, he looks, man. And if you watch him, like, he had his helmet off on the sideline. He looked exhausted. Like, he looks like he gives about football. You know what I mean? Like, Dante Pettis was weird. I'm into I like cats, but I'm not like, doing this deal, right? But he's like,
the pause celebration after scoring
yeah, that really, I'm very, listen, I'm not even going to go there. I'll offend somebody. I'll offend somebody if I do. But he just, I don't know, man. He just gives me a vibe of a dude that cares. He's like super uber masculine for like a scrawny guy. Like, I like
physical. That's what you want out of these.
He looks like a grunting masculine football player that like gives a crap. And like a big guy like myself will try to come in on him and try to make like a big hit, and he'll just like freaking bear paw me or something like.
But he will get stronger because this is his first year in the league. He's got NFL weight room. So imagine 2 years with Debo's build. So yeah, he has the potential to be the next, he'll be yoked. Because I remember when Brandon Ayuk came into the Niners, he had the potential, and I was like, oh, I like this
real
guy.
Skinny,
but he was a skinny beanpole, and now look at Brandon Ayuk's jacked. He's jacked. Like 2 years, 3 years in the NFL weight room, he'll get it right. But you're right, Dante just didn't have that fire. He was just like okay with being in the league. He didn't look like he worked out. The guy, I don't even think he wanted to lift the weight. It didn't look like it.
No.
And then I remember it was a Tracy Sandler interview. Like, I remember because I posted this video. I remember this, and I think this was the day he blocked me, because the next day I was blocked after this video. And I was a big time Dante fan. I stood up for this guy. I liked him. I thought he had talent. Like, I saw some in him.
He blocked me too.
And I was like, that could be good if he really gave a damn. But she asked him. It was his second. He came back. it was after the year he kind of had a down year because the first year, rookie year, was pretty promising. And he says, yeah, last year, and he just sounded like just so like depressed, like he needed an antidepressant or something. And he goes, yeah, I'm just happy to be in the league. And she asked him, she says, do you want to be a superstar in this league? Like, what are your goals? I really don't have any goals. I'm just happy to be in the NFL. Like, that's what he said. And you're a wide receiver. Most wide receivers have that alpha. They want to be the best of the best. They want to be top dog. He said, I'm just happy to be here. That's what he said. So
Yeah, I blocked. He had me blocked too. Speaking of Tracy Sandler, I have an interview set up with her September 12th. So hopefully that goes.
my
Yeah.
God, yeah, she's cool, man.
You guys don't understand how hard it is for me to send messages to people. Like I get super like weirded out that I'm weirding people out. You know what I mean?
No, send me when after you're done. Put in a good word for your boy. Maybe I'll have her on the show. We'll get her on.
Or we could do a dual stream and we can interview her on a. It's going to be a Tuesday at 4 p.m. You'll be at work unless you could take the day off, and we could do like
Yeah,
get like
maybe.
It's 4 p.m. on September 12th because she said she's locked up until week 1. And if it doesn't happen, like say she gets busy, I'm not gonna be mad. Like I just went out of my way to. I just like the fact that she does a lot of stuff with like Matt Mayoka, and to me, he can be kind of vanilla sometimes. Him and Barros, and I've criticized him in the past for like not giving me that spicy take, but going through all this crap with the quarterbacks, I'm starting to respect guys like Barrows, Jennifer Lee Chan, Mayoka a lot more because they're trying to keep it as unbiased as possible.
Yeah, they got to tote the company line, but they do keep it unbiased, and I feel like that's the way to be because we've seen this year the discourse on quarterback situation there's a lot of bias, people trying to sell their agenda, and you see with the media. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we talked about this off camera how Cowherd and ESPN and all these people are
They don't even do their homework.
Don't even watch the games. They don't even watch the games. Yet they have a take on someone. If that's not bias, I don't know what is. And then people that are totally against the player, they're going to go out of their way to showcase that they suck. Like ESPN, that was absolutely crazy because last week Dan Orlovsky, all these ESPN shows slammed him. So then the highlights of the game was, oh, Trey played bad. He didn't play good. Da 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 da. Yeah, they won the game, but Trey played horrible. If you watch the game, yeah, he started off pretty bad, like a little slow, sluggish. Once he found his rhythm, they came back and won the game because Trey Lance was throwing darts. So, and the guy even says, for those that were watching, he didn't watch. Cowherd slammed him, and he says he was horrible all training camp. And he says, well, I wasn't there. How can you make a judgment on someone?
We know why Cowherd is the way that he is.
We do. We know that. But
which is lame. That's so lame. That's such weak sauce.
I can't take these people seriously if you're not going to watch the game. Like, I get it. If you watch the games and you have a take and you can back it up with your opinions and film and this and that, cool. I respect it. But don't go out there and talk trash on a player that you have no clue if you haven't seen. If you can't watch the tape, I don't take your opinion seriously. And I talked about this yesterday, that I used to love ESPN. When growing up,
I was listening to your stream when you said it, and I was like, yes, exactly.
I wanted to be a sports anchor so bad. That was like one of my dream
Me
jobs.
too.
Because I saw how awesome it was. But now, I would never. The integrity they have has been flushed down the toilet. It's crazy.
Anybody with any integrity leaves that network.
Yeah.
Anybody who has any worth of integrity leaves ESPN and goes and does something else, because not only did they push stupidity, they push political agendas too. Like I come to sports to escape politics. I don't go to sports to have politics, whatever side, whether you're liberal or a conservative, push in my face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I watch NFL Network. They usually are pretty complimentary on the 49ers most of the time. And that's pretty much it. I usually listen. I got all you guys to listen to. I do in my own channel. So we're pretty covered with the 49ers.
Sure. Niners have a good content base. Like we said, my man Russell over here says he gets his NFL news from me. So,
I get my NFL news from Raj.
There you go.
Raj and Wayne Breezy show up on my Instagram. They're like, Raj Breezy, my stuff, Raj Breezy, random person, Raj Breezy. That's my Instagram all the time.
That's it. You got to take over that timeline. That's what it is. People have found out, because I've been posting like that for years, but now people realize. Before they were like, oh, he's so annoying, he's always posting, but now they're like, oh, You just post all day like Roger.
That's what I do on TikTok now. Like
Yeah,
I'm over 2,000 followers in like a month and a half, and I'm
yeah.
trying to push for 3K by the beginning. Anytime there's news, whether it's a video that I upload from like, ESPN or something, or if it's me giving like a minute long take with a little music going on in the background, like you got to be on it, dude. Like that's how
You,
you grow. So
you see it, man. Yeah, see, you see the vision. You got to eat the timeline. You have to be the algorithm. You set the algorithm, and I think
yep.
now realize that. But it's not easy because you got to be on top
No,
of the
because you
vision.
have like 70, 1,000. Breezy made a good point. He's like, if you have a hard time cracking like the content creator thing because there's so many of us, be the guy that does like short videos for people that are on the run. And I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
That's what I started my YouTube channel as, is just like, I'm going to do a couple minute video for someone who's like, oh, what's going on? Oh, okay, I'm done. Bye. And then you have you guys who are like the live stream gurus, like you do all that other stuff. So everybody has a place.
Everybody has a place, and it's great. But that's why I like independent content creators, the
Yep.
YouTubers like you, me, and stuff. Like, I respect everybody out there in the content creating game so much more. A, because I do it and I see how hard it is, especially maintaining a 9 to 5 and doing it.
Yep.
And I see there's more integrity. Not everybody. There's people that have their agenda. They got views and clicks they want to get. But for the most part, I say about 85% of the people are
Yeah.
so much more down to earth. They're going to give you the straight facts, and they watch film. They give you a fair analysis compared to ESPN. That's just mainstream, like you said, political, and it's just unfair, man. And I feel like they have an agenda and they're going to run with it. It's unfortunate, but again, I like the content creators. Social media has changed the game in many ways over the last 2 decades, man. It was never like this back in the day when I was growing up. It was crazy,
Yeah,
absolutely
they
crazy.
never paid attention to practice interceptions
Yeah, crazy.
until this year. I'll say this. The thing that drives me crazy about these networks is it just feeds into the negativity and the two-sidedness of the 49ers fan base right now when it comes to which quarterback you're down with, right? Like I'm boring and kind of vanilla because I like Trey Lance, but I look at things kind of like how you do, where it's like, what is best for the organization right now if you're trying to win right now? Do you want a quarterback that starts slow every single game and needs to warm up and takes like 2 quarters to warm up? Or do you go with the guy who's physically challenged, who doesn't have any elite traits as far as his body goes, but is on time, efficient, and the offense moves? And it's like that's kind of where I kind of sit. I sit in the middle of that. And unfortunately, with some of these content creators, or even YouTube or people on ESPN, they attack one side completely and try to eliminate the other side having any argument whatsoever. Where I kind of drop towards the middle of it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's me. I'm gonna support Brock. I'm gonna support Trey. Do I think that Brock is more ready? Obviously, he had 4 years of college. He came in last year. His magical run was amazing. He showed command of the offense. Like, I get it. I get it. Understand where Kyle's coming from. He already named him as QB1. But I've said this many years ago when they did draft Trey. You got to start him, and it was a controversial take because he had Jimmy, and it was. I said, hey, look, he's a developing quarterback. He's raw. He needs that time. Get him in there. Get him some reps because you don't want to sit there 2-3 years from now and say, damn, we need to still develop him. And that's where he is 2-3 years down the line. He's still developing. Obviously, he had an injury. I get it, but he still kind of just needs that time. And he's a young quarterback, very raw. He didn't have the seasoning come out of college. He needs to be marinated. But Kyle wants to win now. They got a roster that needs to win. And I get it. But I do feel Trey just needs the time, and he just needs to get in a rhythm, like we see in the games. He starts slow. Once he gets that rhythm, boom, he gets cooking. Just like in training camp, he starts slow. Once he gets that rhythm, he starts cooking, and he just needs the time. But I feel like the media and sometimes fan base, they just take it to an extreme, and that's where I'm like, come on, man, this is both of these guys are on this team. If you're a fan of this team, you want to see both of them succeed. And yes, Brock Purdy, I hope he plays good. I hope he gets better. I hope he continues to learn the offense and continues to be able to lead this team. But if anything happens to him, I hope Trey Lance could come in and pick up where he left off and develop and keep hitting those strides and get better and help this team win games. That's what I want to see.
Yep.
But today, Kyle Shanahan threw us a wrench. He still hasn't determined who quarterback two is. So there's still a debate. There's still a battle between Sam Darnold and Trey Lance. He did say during the season it can change. So I don't know. What did you think about that today when he said that Trey Lance and Sam Darnold are still battling it out basically for QB2?
I think Kyle trolls the media and he trolls the fan base because he knows how freaking everybody is so freaking whacked out right now over this whole thing, and everybody is so bipolar with all of it. You
Okay.
got people responding to their own tweets and people like having arguments over stuff and getting really emotional, and it just doesn't make any sense. I think Kyle already knows who his backup's going to be, and I
Mm.
think he's essentially playing with the media because the media don't need to know until they need to know.
Mm.
And he might want to see a little bit more in this next preseason game, but I'm pretty sure being a head coach now, going on what, 7 years, pretty sure he's got an idea of who he wants to be as second string quarterback.
Mm.
I'm personally leaning towards Trey, but I feel like Kyle's leaning towards Sam Darnold as being number
Okay.
two.
That's what
And
I
I
was getting.
hate to say that, and no, it's not me trying to freaking stir the pot. I just have a feeling because he's vanilla. He's a structure QB, not a very good one, but he's a structure QB who
He's the
plays
safe.
within. He's a
He's the
safe
safe,
option.
right? Is that what people think?
Unfortunately, that's what it is. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but at the end of the day, I don't get paid by the organization, so I can think whatever I want. So can Raj.
It's true. That's true. Until I start getting paid from the Niners, till I start getting paychecks, then I'm gonna have to, I keep it 100 right now. But then eventually we got to change it up. But Charlene says, why can't we just be happy to have three capable quarterbacks? That's how I see it, especially after last season. I think that's a good take because last year was deadly. You went through three quarterbacks, and you kind of need to have as many emergency options that can run the offense. Now, Sam Darnold might not be amazing to you, or Trey Lance might be a bust to you. Whatever your take is, as long as they can run this offense and win games, that's what we want. Because we've seen it not just last year, we've seen it in the past. There was a year where they went through three quarterbacks, not just last year. CJ Beathard, Nick Mullins, and Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo was the only one that was winning games. CJ Beathard could not run this offense. He had a nice deep pass. That was it. Nick Mullins, he had one amazing game, and after that, people figured him out, and he just wasn't. There's a reason why he went undrafted, right? So those two quarterbacks couldn't grasp the offense. I hope and pray Trey Lance and Sam Darnold could grasp this offense because if anything happens to Brock, if there's a setback, I mean, he's coming off a major surgery. He looked efficient. He looked pretty good on Monday in that opening drive, and I hope he could continue. But you never know. Last year was worst case scenario. And again, it wasn't the first time that this
No.
happened. It has happened before with the Niners. So I think we should be happy that all three of them could run the offense. Personally, I think it should be Trey as QB2 for his confidence because you don't want to screw that. You've already. I feel like his confidence has already been up and down so many
If
times
you
over.
watch his body language during games, you can't tell me that kid is 100% like, yeah, he seems a little bit affected, a
And
lot of it affected.
I would be too. I don't blame him. But one thing you said, I kind of agree. I think that Kyle is going to choose Sam Darnold initially as his quarterback too. And I think that was an important statement in what he said. So let me pull up the exact words of what he said. He said, right, that he hasn't decided on his QB2, but he expects he will announce his decision prior to Pittsburgh. He also says that the backup order can change throughout the year. And I think this was the key because just because Trey's not QB2 right now, he can win that QB2 role at some point because he said that last, like a couple months ago, that Brock's the guy but he says that Trey can win that role if he, continues to come out. He did say that. So I feel like that's an important part of that whole piece that he'll say it too. He'll say, well, Sam Darnold right now is QB2, but Trey can become QB2. I think he's going to phrase it specifically for that reason. I hope it's Trey, but I have a sinking feeling that next week when roster cuts and everything's named, he's going to say Sam Darnold's QB2.
Me
I
too.
don't.
And it's going to cause a major
Mm-hmm.
meltdown in the fan base. Here's my question to the fans who are supposed Niner fans. Do you cheer for players or do you cheer for the helmet? Like, I love all the players on the team, but as a whole, I'm a 49er fan, right? So I cheer for the team, right? The organization. I don't understand these people that do you like you see the arguments, and it's like, do you even care like about the actual team, or do you just want to be right? You can physically you can physically type something on a keyboard and put it out into the world of Twitter, but you can't physically manifest anything out of your own control. And what are you gonna do? Go protest at the facility?
They
You gonna
might.
go in there and kick John and Kyle's ass and freaking tell them they better start or else? Like, what are you gonna do? It's out of our control. The
It is.
only thing that's not in our control, the only thing that's not in our control, or the only thing that's not in our control that I agree with is the fact that Purdy right now is the best option. You look at Purdy and there's nothing that impresses you about him. His body, his arm, nothing. But he just like, at least for now, he I don't get it. And everybody loves him. Like he's beloved by that roster.
Great
And everyone's
personality.
like, he's
He did.
essentially Jimmy Garoppolo 2.0.
He's got a
We'll
good head
see.
on his shoulders. His parents raised him right, but Trey's got a good head on his shoulders too. But I feel like again, the 4 years of playing in a Division I school separates him because it gave him that confidence. Like he just seems confident. Now,
John V.
I will say this, and I get it because I cheer for the team and I get that whole point. 49ers fans, 49er Twitter, 49ers content creators are going to it's going to be utterly chaos if they name Sam Darnold QB2. And I don't think that it's a bad I justify. I think these Niner fans are going to be crazy because listen, Trey Lance, number 3 pick, they traded up to get him. I want to see at least name him QB2. I can see why people would be mad. Now I get it. It's Kyle's team. You want to do what's best for you. But Sam Darnold, we know what Sam Darnold is. Just give Trey the vote of confidence by making him QB2. That's my head. That's where my head's at. Now, I know he said things can change, but I'm just saying. I know a lot of
Yeah, I
are
have a
going to
feeling
be upset. They're going to be upset. It's going to be upset.
Devin Matthews in your comments says I'm tripping hard. I don't really understand what I'm tripping hard about. I'm pretty calm, I think. I I'm just saying that like there's a lot of things in life that we can't physically manifest, and one of them is changing John and Kyle's mind about the quarterback. Like what are we going to do?
I don't know. I mean,
Not
it's
not go to games
tough.
while
Again,
while they keep winning with Purdy. Damn it, they're 8-0, but damn it, he's not my quarterback. Okay, we'll see you, when they hoist a Lombardi in February, when you come crawling back under different screen names, freaking trolling Twitter with your was always there for him the whole time garbage. Like, just I don't know, man. Whatever.
yeah, I hope Purdy can take us all the way. I loved his season last year. I think he earned it. You can't discredit
He
anything he did.
totally earned it, and I know a lot. You know what it is? You know what it is, Raj? People compare it to the Garoppolo situation, and I get it because I was one of those idiots, right? Oh my God, we got our guy, right? We didn't have our guy. I think the difference with Purdy is uh, Garoppolo did it during the season where we were dead, right? There were
Mm-hmm.
meaningless games against teams that, like the Jaguar game. The Jaguars had already everything almost locked up. While Brock came in a situation where we were on a roll with a really good team, and essentially he just needed to do what he needed to do and get out of the way. And that's exactly what he did. He didn't melt down under pressure. The biggest one for me that sold me on Brock was the game in Seattle. He went in there with bruised
Mm-hmm.
ribs. He was
Yeah.
hurting. He already has enough issues throwing the ball hard and far with his own, physical limitations. He willed that team to win that game. That scramble for the first down where he could barely move and he reaches it over the first down marker. I don't know, man. Like you look at him, like I said, and he's just this little guy, and you're just like, he doesn't.
He looks like a young kid, like a high schooler, and he's out there leading this team. It's like a feel good story. It's like an underdog story, and that's why I think the team rallied around him, and he just was so confident, and he's telling Trent Williams to shut the hell up. You know what I mean? So like that's why I think,
I
and
love that
the Seattle game was crazy because that's a tough place to play, division rival. To go into Seattle and beat Seattle,
in
I
Seattle,
after that
regardless of who the team is. Yep.
I was like, this guy's got he's it, man. He's got it because you're right. He was hurt and he came out and it was gutty. It was a gutty. He was gritty, man. He had that dog in him, like they say. He's gritty. Now I want to answer this question from Tom. He says Trey or any football player is not going to gain confidence by being a backup. Being a backup doesn't give you confidence. I agree with that to a point, but if you're a former number 3 pick and you're coming in and you were supposed to be QB1 last year. You got hurt. Your coach who drafted you several years ago now is saying you're not even good enough to be the backup quarterback. In the case Brock Purdy goes down or has an issue or gets abducted by aliens, whatever happens, you want to be that next guy in line to give the chance to say, all right, this is my chance to prove you wrong. You're not even getting that chance. You're going to be the next guy in line. So that's why it would hurt his confidence even more. You're not even going to be backup to the guy that took your job. At least give him the chance to be the number 2. Trey knows it's Brock's job. He said it all off season. He says it's Brock's job. It should be. He earned it. Like he understands the whole business of it. But to say that you didn't earn QB2 job, that you didn't beat this journeyman at this point, Sam Darnold, he's been on many teams. He saw ghosts. To sit there and say Sam Darnold, who just came into the roster, this year, beat you out, that's why it would mess up his confidence. And that's where I see you're wrong on that, Tom. That's my take on it. I think that he needs to be backup quarterback because we all know Brock Purdy's your quarterback one. There's no debating that at this point. But I think it would help his confidence saying, man, at least Kyle knows that I'm his next guy in line in case something doesn't happen to his golden child, Brock. If Brock gets hurt, Trey Lance comes right in and he can rewrite his story and start his next chapter and showcase he's the guy. But if he doesn't become QB2, well, shit, you don't even think I'm good enough to be the backup quarterback? That's what's going to shake his confidence.
What, what do you think of people that? What do you think of people that say, "Well, he hasn't played with the ones. Let him play with the ones, and then we'll make a comment about if he's good or not. Like, let him operate with Christian McCaffrey, Ayuk, Kittle." Because I kind of get that argument a little bit, but I feel like if you're not able to do what you need to do with the twos, and you're going against the second and third string defense, then isn't that an indictment on you that with everything being even, you're still not able to elevate? And then if you're going to do that, what are you going to do when you have to go against number 1 defenders and number 1 pass rushers and all this, that, and the other? I don't think his story's written yet, though. Purdy, or excuse me, Lance.
Yeah, I don't.
It might not be with the 49ers. He might go somewhere else and become a star, and then we're going to be like, oh, I wish we did it. But yeah, listen, what happened?
And I think that's the reason why fans don't want to give up on him and trade him, because there still is a chance that he could be this amazing guy. Look at Alex Smith. It took him years to figure it out, the game to slow down for him, and to be a competent quarterback. Like he became a very efficient quarterback. He was a really good player. He got teams to the playoffs, right? It just took him time. He needed to find the right coaching. Obviously, when he came in, it was kind of a disarray. It was a little bit different situation. We didn't have the same offense. Like, we didn't have a good offense, a lot of coordinators. But you could just see, like, the game was not slowed down enough for him. He was making a lot of mistakes. He just didn't look like he was the number 1 pick. But as time went on, he figured it out. Some people just need time to kind of develop, and that's what Trey needs. So I don't think fans want to give up on this kid because he does have some potential, and they did take him with the number 3 pick. So there's that. I feel like fans there's that hope that he gave us a couple years ago. We're like, man, this could be the guy that gets us to the Super Bowl. So I think there's still that in a lot of fans' back of their mind lingers, But then there's the people that are mad that they drafted him, they traded up to get him, and he hasn't played, and he's been a bust in their mind. And there's a lot of players they passed up on that year. Parsons, Patrick Surtain. Like, there was some really good players that the Niners could have had. And you kind of think about it, you're like, man, if the Niners would have drafted one of these guys, would they have won a Super Bowl? It's a valid argument. So I see where everybody's head's at with this whole situation. It's tough. But again, long story short, I think they got to name Trey Lance QB2. That's my opinion, but we'll see. I think Kyle, he just been gushing about Sam Darnold, man. He talks so highly of him. Like today, he says, oh, Sam, he just came in and he learned the offense so well. And, and I'm so proud of how he was able to figure it out in such a short amount of time. I was like, get a room, Kyle. Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks that this has happened with him. All I could think of is, look, man, you had the Patriots they drafted a quarterback in the 6th round. They have Drew Bledsoe playing. If Drew Bledsoe doesn't get hurt, the Tom Brady story might never happen, right? So I'm not saying, and I know, oh, here we go. We're going to compare Tom Brady to Brock Purdy. All I'm saying is sometimes things happen that are out of the control of the football gods. It's just one of those things that happen. And to me, the way I look at it, like Larry Krueger always says, football is a meritocracy. Doesn't matter where you're drafted sometimes. Sometimes the seventh round quarterback is better than the first pick quarterback in the draft because the seventh round or sixth round guy wants it more. And he has a lot of people he wants to prove wrong.
Yeah.
And the first round guy just is the money's given. It's, everything, the golden carpet is presented to him. He's getting, they give him everything. And they don't always, some in ways, they don't have to work for it. Whereas a guy in the back of the roster has to fight, claw, scratch, step on other people to get where they need to be. So, like, I mean, Joe Montana was a third rounder. Nothing was given to him. He earned that crap, and again, everyone's going to say, here we go. We're comparing. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that,
No,
like,
your point is the guys that are later in the draft, they got to work harder to prove themselves, and it's on
yeah.
some
And
the undrafted.
sometimes when they make it, it's more gratifying because they had to overcome so many more obstacles. I mean, look at, like I said, look at him. Look at Brock Purdy. He looks like he's 15, right?
Yeah.
Does he look like an NFL quarterback's going to lead somebody to a championship just based on his physical prowess? No.
I mean, if you line them up with all the quarterbacks, you know how they, just like a lineup, like a prison lineup. If you do a lineup with all the quarterbacks, I don't think, I think 90%, maybe 98% of people wouldn't pick Brock as a
Oh,
quarterback and lead their team to the Super Bowl.
a
100%.
lot of these players really love him, though. They are 100% behind him.
But I think
So,
that's what slid in the draft. That was one of the reasons because he didn't have the size. He was too small. You're absolutely right. People have that mentality that they looked at him and they're like, he doesn't have the physical traits to be a quarterback, and he has to work hard to prove them wrong. Like that's 100% it. And now Trey though has to prove people wrong because people think he's a bust, and it's unfortunate for him. He just hasn't had the time. He's been hurt. He's been, it's tough. I see it's tough for both of them. Again, at the end of the day, I like them both, and I want to both see. I want to see them both succeed. You did bring up an interesting topic, Trey Lance. Maybe he succeeds somewhere else, right? Maybe that he just needs an opportunity to go to a team that has time for a young quarterback to develop. I think that would be ideal situation. He landed on a team that had this Super Bowl caliber roster, and then it's hard because you want to win a Super Bowl, but at the same time you don't want to develop a quarterback. It's a weird situation from the
you
jump.
wonder why they drafted him sometimes.
Yeah,
You
it is.
wonder why they drafted him. Why would you draft the project who isn't ready on a team that's ready to win right now? It just doesn't add up. Like, oh, Garoppolo's going to come in and da, 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 da. But like, that's a perfect world. What if Garoppolo gets hurt? Then what? To me, it's just, the Niners wanted their cake and to eat it too, and it blew up in their face essentially. And now they're in a situation where they have a guy that is beloved, who's a seventh rounder, and they have a guy that they spent a buttload of picks on, moved around in the draft to get the number 3 pick, and he essentially could never be the guy on the team, and you might have to send him somewhere else. It looks horrible for the 49ers.
It
I
does
don't
look
blame
bad.
him. I blame the organization for making the move. I never blame the young
It
man
wasn't a
because
bad move. I think I liked the kid out of school. I think and I was so happy. I was happy we got him, and I still think he
so
could be
was
good.
I.
But the problem is he got hurt, and they didn't give him the chance from the beginning because they thought, like you said, they can have Jimmy ride it out. They win a Super Bowl with Jimmy, and then they can get rid of him because his trade value would have been super high. But Jimmy got hurt. His trade value wasn't where it was. Then he had to have the offseason surgery, and it threw a wrench in their plans. And then they were like, crap, Trey's got to go in. And then Jimmy was still on the team, and that whole situation was just weird. And then Trey got hurt because they were going to give him the starting keys. And during that offseason, during that draft, they went and drafted a quarterback just for insurance spots. Like it was a crazy situation because you're like, okay, Jimmy's hurt. We got Trey there, but we didn't give him the keys last year because we thought we were going to give him the keys this year. So now they were kind of like, we're kind of put ourselves in the corner. They went and drafted a quarterback just in case, and he turned out to be the better of the two. Which it's a crazy story. Like this is a movie type story that the 49ers have at
Right.
quarterback.
It's like a Disney special,
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
He's essentially the Rudy story. He's 5 foot nothing, 100 and nothing, but he's got a huge heart and, blah, blah, blah. And that's exactly what you're getting with him. You look at him, he's so underwhelming physically.
And
Yet when he gets on,
Trey looks like a real deal athletic.
right?
And he might be. We just don't know.
You sounded like Jerry Seinfeld right now.
We do need a 30 for 30. Peter Parker is right. We need a 30 for 30 on the quarterback situation for the 49ers.
It better not be how the Niners are really good but could never win a Super Bowl. That would be the worst 30 for 30 ever.
One day with the 49ers quarterback. It's going to start with Joe Montana and Steve Young. And Steve Young stole the show and the quarterback controversy of the 90s. And Steve Young, he goes to Kansas City. He can never get a championship there. And then after Steve Young goes, it's going to be the greatest 30 for 30 of all time. I can't wait. I'll probably be on it somewhere.
Yeah, they'll show some of us losers on there talking on YouTube.
Yeah.
They'll be like, who are those guys?
Yeah. Yeah. This is 49ers throwback says, I'll feel bad for Trey. He drafted him for a reason, not just to sit, hit, and not take advantage of wasting his time. Kyle said all three are starting quarterbacks. Kyle did say that. He says all three quarterbacks are starting caliber. But Kyle, his starting quarterback is Brock Purdy. He feels like all three of these quarterbacks could start on this offense. So we'll see how the season goes, man. It's just an interesting situation. We can talk about the quarterback all day, every day, like everybody does. But
it's like the giant elephant in the room, only we do want to talk about it.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I want to kind of segue off from that because we can sit here all night. Now, in terms of the 49ers, we got a preseason game this weekend. Friday, last preseason game of the season. The starters are going to play. We don't know exactly how many, but who are you excited to see this week, starter-wise?
I just want to, maybe nobody in particular, but I want to see the offensive line. At least most of the starters out there, just see how they look. If they look any better. I love to see Ronnie Bell again, to be honest with you. He had a bigger look at Ambry Thomas. He had a little bit of a rough ending to that game, or part of that game.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in this slot corner position that we pretty much wrote Isaiah Oliver in as a starter, and now all of a sudden, dude might not even make the roster because Samuel Womack and guys like I'm trying to think of his name, like he's back of the end roster guys. Who's the one corner that we always forget about?
Deshaun Jameson.
No,
Taylor
not Deshaun. Not Taylor Hawkins.
Deommodore Lenoir, Ambry Thomas.
No.
Who else?
Quantrez Knight.
Yeah.
He had a good preseason so far. So like there's that position. You wonder, did they take Womack, put him outside, and stick Deommodore in the slot for the season? Like, what are we doing with the corner position? What's going on with the outside rush? Like, where's Drake Jackson? To me, Clelin Ferrell looks like he should be the starter.
I agree.
On the outside, to be honest with you.
I agree.
I think Drake Jackson.
I want to see Drake Jackson this week. I'm really interested to see where he's at because he missed some time. He was hurt. I agree. I think Clelin's looked like the best out of everybody, even in training camp. I think Drake came out hot, and he kind of hasn't overwhelmed me yet. I got to see something out of Drake, and I'm very concerned about this cornerback position because I thought Isaiah Oliver, it's your guy. You drafted him, Steve, or you got him in free agency. Steve Wilkes, handpicked guy. He's the starting nickel. Yesterday, he had no confidence in well, we're just going to rotate guys, and you're going into the season saying you're going to rotate the nickel spot. You know, teams are going to sit there and pick you apart in that nickel.
Yes, they will. What? I forgot what happened with Daryl Luter.
He had a bone bruise.
So he's still not good to go for a while, huh?
He might be back by the start of the season. We'll see. He was rehabbing every day during training camp. I saw him every day rehabbing.
Yeah, I totally forgot about Daryl Luter, 49ers throwback. Thank you for that. But I think they have enough good depth. It's just a matter of they got to pick somebody. Like, you can't rotate your nickel. What are you doing? This isn't a 3-win team, homie. You do that when you're a sucky ass team and you have no chance at winning. Yeah, you could rotate everybody, every single play. Come on, dude.
I believe it when he said that he's not the starter. Because 2 months ago, I remember the video. I remember watching the press conference. He goes, "Yo, Isaiah Oliver, he's a starter. We expect big things." And then this week, he's like, "Well, I've never been on a team with so much depth. It's amazing to have. It's a luxury. Maybe we could put Lenoir in the slot. Maybe we could put Womack." I was like, "Bro, doesn't even
pedal."
I know. I was like, "Come on."
He did say that this team, how it should be, is that every position is up for grabs. He said, "I'm like, not really."
No, that tells me he has no clue who the hell his nickel, and he doesn't believe in some of those guys. Like Isaiah Oliver's not it. Ambry's flashed a little bit here and there, but he's not 100%.
See, I think Ambry
Start.
Thomas. I hate to say it, people, but I think Ambry Thomas is fool's gold. I'm
It's tough.
sorry.
Yeah, I agree. I love the guy, but
Until proven otherwise, I feel like
if Jair Brown doesn't chase the receiver down, we lose the game. Jair
dude,
Brown,
he got double moved out of his freaking sneakers, dude. Like, what the heck?
fucking route.
He got stuttered and was left in a.
Oh, the route was insane. He flew out of his sneakers like it's like a cartoon. He just like that was
like
bad.
It's the scene when he was in. If it was a movie, the next clip of the film would have him completely out of frame, and just have the other guy running. Like, where did he go?
Jair, what a hustle. That was a hustle
for the guy that doesn't have any speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad for Ambry.
I think we have good depth, Raj. I just think when you have three, you have none. You know, when people say we have three of good quarterbacks, really you have zero. You know what I mean? Most of the time. You got to have one guy that you think is head and shoulders above the rest. I think personally, Clelin Ferrell, from what I've seen so far in the preseason, it's going to be him across from Bosa, Armstead, Hargrave, the Gravedigger, and Nick Bosa, and that's going to be your starting line. Drake Jackson, I thought he's going to be the guy, but from what people said, like in camp and stuff, like he's still raw.
I think he'll be a good rotationary piece, but I can't expect him to go from 12 games to have so many snaps. I think he'll continue to develop. I think he'll have a good year, but you got to remember, last year he played 12 games, and he's just now getting into his NFL body. So I can't expect him to play like 40 snaps a game. I just don't right now. I think he'll be a good rotational guy, but I do think Clelin will take more action than him. I have high hopes for Drake. It's not saying that I don't think he's be good, but I just the amount to take a big leap in snaps like that for a defensive end, it's a lot of you got to be really conditioned, and he already had a hamstring issue, so I think he'll be rotationary, and then it's not a bad thing. I think he's going to be a very good rotational player, just like Omenahu and Ebukam last year. They were very good rotational players, and Jordan Willis. Like that's the expectation I have of them, and they were very good players for this team. So I still think Drake and Clelin will be rotationary players, but the first defense that comes out on the field, I agree. I think it's going to be Clelin, Armstead, Hargrave, and Bosa. Those are your four starting.
Are you worried about the run defense a little bit?
As long as Nick Bosa's there, no. I'm not worried about the defense as long as Nick Bosa's there. I am a little concerned about the Isaiah Oliver, the nickel slot, because we're going to get exposed. Right. And Wilkes likes to blitz too much, and I think we're going to get eaten up sometimes on those blitzes. But I think as long as we have Nick Bosa, we're going to be fine. Not too worried about run defense because linebackers are really good, and I like our safety depth. It's just, to me, the nickel spot is very. I don't like that. It's still up for grabs, and we got one more preseason game.
I'm really impressed with Ty McGill.
Yeah, he looks good.
He looks really good. And Kalia Davis, man, like what the heck, man? Been hurt all camp. I thought Kalia Davis was going to be the.
That's to be expected, and I said that. Like people didn't believe me. I said, he's coming off a big injury. Don't expect too much. I said that on Kruger show, but everybody's like, "Oh, Kalia's going to be great." I was like, "He's coming off a big injury, guys. ACL takes a little bit of time for a defensive."
It does.
I think he can be good. Give him some time because remember we've had guys that have come back from ACLs, defensive linemen in the past, and it took them a little bit more time than you'd want them to. So,
what do you think about the linebackers, man? Are we like Are we like? Think about this. I said this last night, and I believe this with my own heart. We have two of the best linebackers in the NFL. We might have the best combo, right?
Easy.
The guys behind them, Jalen Graham, D. Winters, and Marcelino McCrary Ball, could essentially, in a couple of years, be the guys that take over while the other guys go. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying.
At some point, Fred Warner's
ridiculous.
Fred Warner's going to be 35 years old. He's not going to be playing at the clip he's playing right now. He's in his years. Fred is amazing, but you get these guys for the future. In 3-4 years, D. Winters is going to be your Fred Warner or Dre Greenlaw. Jalen Graham can be your next Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw. Not this year, but eventually those guys do get old. It happens. You have their heir apparents.
Right.
Those flying. I love them.
It's so weird, man. Like in certain ways, this team doesn't know what they're doing, and you stress out, and you're like, "Oh my god!" And then there's certain positions where it's like they can't miss. They can't draft a tight end to save their life after Kittle. I mean, they suck. None of these guys have shown anything. Dwelly's probably, or Fumagalli or whatever last name is. I thought there was going to be Braden Willis or whatever the other guy's name is, Latu. Nope. But linebacker, sure enough, like we have Johnny Holland, who's probably the best linebacker coach in the NFL. Maybe it's because he has really good players. It's probably a combination of both. But for every time I think this team is like, I think they're going one way, they always surprise me in a different place. And linebackers is where it is this year. So
it's amazing. Linebackers are phenomenal on this team. That's one position we never have to worry about. Charlene says the rookie linebackers have great closing.
Yes, they do.
They do.
They're good tacklers too.
Great tacklers. They're quick to the ball. They have great instincts. I love them.
Look who they're playing behind, man. You can't learn. Dude, if you do not just by osmosis pick up some sort of great trait or some like just study habits or something, then you need to quit the sport because you have two of the best.
You have two of the best.
Sometimes Greenlaw impresses me more than Warner because Greenlaw's more violent. You know, he'll take that. He'll drop that elbow and dig it in a little bit. Whereas Warner's more of the guy who like he covers really well.
Coverage is amazing. He's like a corner. Like sometimes he's better than some of the cornerbacks we have. It's crazy. Like I saw Dallas game. That's the example. The Dallas game. He's covering CD. Like he covered CD Lamb.
Yeah.
That play right there, I was like, oh my god. Like even Sauce Gardner was like, Fred. Like I remember he tweeted something like, oh my god, Fred Warner's the best coverage guy in the league. This coverage skills of Fred Warner are amazing. The fact that he was able to man-to-man cover CD Lamb like that was sick, dude. That was
phenomenal.
Sick. Yeah. Fred Warner was a safety. He's a leader. But the guy has great coverage skills. And yeah, Greenlaw, man. Thumper. Gotta love those two. It's a luxury to have. It's a blessing. And these linebackers are going to be the heir apparent. And I mean, if you think about it, you go back, Niners have had linebackers. We got Fred Warner, right now, Fred Warner, Greenlaw, but we've had Patrick Willis, Navarro Bowman, Ahmad Brooks, We've had linebackers.
Bill Romanowski, Mike Walters.
And, Ken Norton Jr.
Charles Haley.
They've been linebacker stacked over the years. So it's kind of nice. Lee Woodall, they're just amazing linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
And we're blessed. That's one position never had to worry about. Chris Borland. If he would have stayed.
Chris Borland for all 6 months he was here, yep.
That was a hell of a rookie season, though. That was a fun year with Chris Borland. He was good.
Bro, as bad as everything was going, when he retired, I was like, wow, we are definitely going. I mean, like we were going to suck regardless, but that was like the piece of resistance of sucking. Like he was just like, yeah, I'm out of here.
I was sick, dude. I was sick when he.
Those are rough times as 49er fans, knowing you had no hope every single year.
Yeah, it was crazy.
What would you rather have, people?
Pissed. But yeah, I mean, look at the team that we've built, and shout out to Shanahan and Lynch. They get a lot of hate, but put together an amazing team, man. So.
Yep. If this team stays healthy this year, I think they make big things happen. Hopefully.
I agree.
No slow starts though.
Yeah, that's why I said we got to come out the gates. Got to come out the gate smoking. Let's hope we get some Nick Bosa news soon.
Yeah.
Closing thoughts, Aaron. What do you got?
I'm on with Ted this Thursday. Ted Talks Ball will be Thursday, not tomorrow. Working on something. It's tough. Me and Wayne Breezy are trying to work on a consistent weekly show, but I'm having, Breezy's a busy guy. He's a DJ. He does like weddings and stuff. So like, it's really hard. Like we're always available at different times. Like right when I'm available, he's busy. So hopefully we can work out a weekly thing. It's kind of up in the air. No hate on Breezy. Breezy's awesome. He's one of my favorite people next to Raj and Ted and the Monday guys. But yeah, between those are like, that's pretty much it. Like tomorrow or Thursday with Ted, and then we'll see. What about you?
I'll be at the game Friday.
Awesome.
I'll be, live after the game. It's the same, the season's going on. I'm popping. We doing my thing. I'm staying working.
Just stay away from fights, okay?
Oh my God,
I'm not there to be the shock absorber of fists. That was insane.
Niner fans fighting Niner fans, like. First of all, and I said
probably a Lance and Purdy discussion
probably,
that went.
Probably got mad at quarterbacks, had a heated discussion. Like that's like it's like if 49er Twitter met each other. They went and actually fought and met each other.
But it's
It's
in
just
like a UFC ring and have all you idiots that are getting your feelings all destroyed.
I couldn't believe it. You spent so much money to go to a game, the ticket, the food, the
Yeah.
that's like a car note. That's a car payment, and you went out there and you fighting with the dude, and you're probably not gonna be able to be back to the game. It's fucking preseason, man. What are we fighting? You're fighting your own fan base.
Feel bad. My guy Brian Culp, he was there. It's like, geez.
Was he in
Oh,
the mix of fans fighting?
he was really close. He was in a
Oh,
section maybe right over.
that's
That would,
great.
you know what would happen? I'd go to my first game, and those are the buttheads that would sit in front of me, and I'd
Yeah.
get beer and some crazy chick jumping over the top of my head, pulling somebody's hair. Like that's what's gonna happen.
And then the
If
worst
I
part, I see the videos, right? I see there's a lady. She had her 2 kids right there, and there I would have been terrified for my kids. She's trying to get the video, trying to go viral. I was like, come on, lady. She's the kids. She's like pushing them. She's like, that's the world we live in. People want to get that clout instead of protecting her kids. I was just like,
that's not a fight you can win. You can't like if you're sitting there throwing haymakers just into a group of people, hoping you hit something. Like I don't care how tough you are or what jiu-jitsu you know, you're getting your butt kicked, man. Like get out of there.
that was stupid. I can't believe. I hope there's no more fights.
Come on, people, be better.
Yeah. Oh man, that was tough, man. Like I would no, it's tough. Yeah,
It's embarrassing.
it
At
is
least we're
very.
not Eagles fans, though.
Yeah,
We could be worse. We
whew,
could cheer
great.
Michael Irvin getting almost paralyzed. That's
It is,
awesome. Those are
but
classy fans.
man, I mean, that's the whole thing is you go to a preseason game and just enjoy the game. I couldn't believe. I get it. People are drunk and stuff, but to fight your own fan base, man, it's wild to me. And again, you spend so much money on the tickets.
Right.
Couldn't be Aaron. It couldn't be me. But yeah, I'll be at the game this weekend, enjoying myself, getting some
I
content
expect
there.
a concise and clear report immediately after.
Of course, we will.
Don't
We'll be.
drink too much.
Nah, I mean that's not my. I mean maybe a beer here and there, but I don't. I'm not gonna be pounding
It's
drinks.
like
I
I'm going
didn't.
to spend $60 on 2 beers. Woo!
First off, they're expensive. This weekend I won't, but last week I went to the game. I had my daughter, so I'm not gonna drink. I have my
Right.
daughter. Yeah, sometimes I'll have a beer or two, or if I go to the tailgates, they'll be like, "Oh, take this, take this, take." Like people when they see me, they'll get me whatever I want. I'm like,
Of
"Yo,
course, you're the man, dude. I
oh,
would if I was there and I
oh,
was a tailgater, I'd be giving you free barbecue.
I love it."
Be
And then
trying to
we,
fatten your ass up, dude.
yeah, like, here, have some carne, Raj. Have some. You want some of this? You want some of it?
Raj, I want you to eat all of the beef ribs, all of
Yeah.
them, not just one.
And I had some like burgers and stuff, and then the guy's like, "Take another one, take another one." I'm like, "Geez," and they're like shoving the food down my face. You want this? I love it though. Don't ever
Dude,
stop.
if you would have grown up in my life with my nana, when you'd go over there, she would be like, "You eat, you need," right? In Italian, you would have been like 400 pounds, dude.
I mean, I eat a lot when my mom used to cook all the time, but I just never gain weight. I guess it's a good.
Must be nice.
I know.
I didn't gain weight for 25 years of life, and then the last like 20, different story.
Well, I guess maybe like I said, I have a very physical, active job, so it's like I'm working out all day. So I just
You are. You're the man, dude. You're
whatever
one
I
of my favorite.
whatever I eat, man, I just burn it right up because I work like I have the I check my steps every day. I walk so much, like I walk so much on a daily basis, so I'm sure I'm burning it all off.
Right.
49er Jeff, you the man. But yeah, man, I'm excited for this week, and then we have 2 weeks until games start. I can't wait for this season, regular
Me
season.
too. I'm very excited. I'm very excited for what's to come, and just not on, not just on with the 49ers, but on YouTube. It'd be fun and get everybody things heat up a little bit. The viewers come in, there's a lot of discussion,
Yeah, it's
a lot
fun.
of craziness, a lot of overreactions, of course, we're all going to have. Like, I think the Niners are going to have a horrible season after like one loss.
It's kind of fun after a loss in like that preseason game last week. I mean, it was like people were.
Yeah, it was like a moratorium of like how bad the Niners suck.
I was like, yo.
I was a little worried. I'm not going to lie.
Were you? I wasn't.
Yeah.
I think I even tweeted. I was like, yo, you guys got to remember.
They just came out looking like they could give a crap. And that's not a good look, but whatever. We're not the Ravens. We're not counting preseason wins.
Yeah, their streak was over last night with 26-0 streak.
So dumb. Who cares?
Who cares? But hey, it is what it is. Next week, are we still on, or you got Tracy Sandler?
No, that's September.
Oh, September 12th. So
September 12th. That's
she's
she's busy.
After the season opener.
Yeah.
Okay.
That might be a spicy show. I don't know. I might want to do it with a co-host.
She might be in your room doing the show with you. You never know. You might play your cards right. She'll be there with you. I don't know.
Oh, in my house? I don't know about that. That would be weird.
Oh no,
She's like
I
sitting
don't
behind me. My back's to everybody. Like, hey, Tracy, how you doing? No,
know. Hey, baby,
she'll be in. I would
run
assume she'd be leaving Pittsburgh by then.
get your Riz up. I want you to Riz her up. Maybe you
My
can.
Riz.
Aaron,
Aaron doesn't have Riz.
maybe
I'm old.
practice.
I need to practice. My. I don't know how. I don't know how to talk to
Her
women
age?
anymore.
Is she 44? She's like your
I
age.
don't know. Don't start. I'm gonna have people coming in now.
Okay,
People will be coming to my chat causing all sorts of problems. She'll probably leave. Oh God.
Aaron,
Don't
aka
don't.
Rizzler.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll be back next week on
Yeah.
Tuesday.
We'll
I
be
love
on
y'all.
49ers First Takes next week.
You know what? Next Tuesday, we'll be talking about the 53-man roster because the rosters are set next Tuesday. That's
Yeah.
a fire show. Let's go.
Hopefully Nick Bosa will be in the building. That show will actually have some topics that people will want to stay and listen to on my channel because usually they leave.
They'll be live and in tune, baby. Anyways, that's it for tonight. You guys take care. Appreciate the chat. Everybody have a safe and good night. Make
Bye,
sure you hit
everybody.
that and follow my boy Aaron, and make sure you subscribe to both of us. We love you. Have a good night. Go
Bye,
Niners.
everyone.